This is the first panel for the Rare Cancer Coalition at NORD. We're very excited about this. Really, the first panel that we're having is to discuss not only what the Rare Cancer Coalition is about, but also what's in the future for rare cancers. We have about 20% of our members here at NORD are actually rare cancers, but what we have found is that most of us don't know each other, and because we're all rare, sometimes we know that we need to be networking with one another in areas of research, in areas of patient advocacy, in areas of what the government can be doing, what industry can be doing. So really today's meeting today is the first major panel discussion we're having. It includes government in terms of the NCI, it includes industry, it includes patient advocacy groups, it includes patient survivors and their inspirational stories. But again, the real goal of this is to inspire all of those coming in here, that together we can create a voice that's impactful in all areas of cancer research. So what advancements are being made in rare cancers really covers a broad spectrum. First, I'm going to start off with diagnostics. The idea of genetic diagnosis, looking for what we call checkpoint inhibitors, looking at what might be precision medicine is all coming into the area of rare cancers. What we find is many of the rare cancers have genetic mutations, and once we discover that, it helps us to target therapies around that. So what does that mean? What that means is by those discoveries coming through, which is fairly new, we can work with drug companies to develop whatever drugs might be targeting that. Repurposing drugs, which is a key one for rare cancers in essence, because there may be drugs that exist out there right now for the larger cancers. It might be ovarian cancer, pancreatic cancer, etc. But by finding the certain genetic mutations that rare cancers have that might be common to some of those larger cancers, we can look at screening thousands and thousands of drugs that might be out there as to whether or not that can target your specific cancer. There's a lot of hope going on from that perspective in terms of what's in the future on drug discovery. The other part is that there's a whole new slew of microbiology, biotech companies coming through because they're discovering molecules now that may affect rare diseases where before it was the larger drug companies along the way. So somebody might be working side by side with Merck in the areas of immunotherapy or checkpoint inhibitors, as you hear, but they might be working with a small company called Puma or Blueprint Medicine, or there's dozens of those, who may be having just a small molecule out there that might be a kinase inhibitor, let's say, which that though might be what helps to stall the cancer and allows somebody to go into remission, etc. So really what's happening is we're seeing the work being done from the larger drug companies, from the smaller drug companies, and hopefully the patient advocacy groups that NORD brings together can help bring the knowledge for all of us to say, hey, what about our cancer? So the question is whether or not there's any drug treatments coming down for rare cancers to be aware of. And the answer is always yes. I mean, there are new discoveries every day, and the most important recommendations I can make for the community here is to be proactive about going to the large pharmaceutical companies as well as the microbiologists and the biotech companies to find out if they have discoveries with you. What we're finding here with NORD, with the Rare Cancer Coalition, is that we're hoping that by networking together and finding out what's your cancer discovery, what's yours, that there might be similarities here, or what about this drug company and why aren't they dealing with ours? I will tell you my own personal experience. When I was at NORD 4 years ago, I happened to be sitting next to somebody who worked for Genzyme and then just moved over to this company called Blueprint Medicine, where we're talking about hepatocellular carcinoma, which is the larger liver cancer. I said, well, why aren't you researching fibrolamellar, which is an adolescent young adult liver cancer, but different than the larger hepatocellular? He goes, well, actually we are. We just started that discovery. So that put us in connection with them, where we help them with studies, we help them with patient advocacy. So I would encourage everyone to be networking as much as possible with the large companies and the smaller ones, because you never know if your cancer might be the ones that's coming out. Again, it's everything from immunotherapies, checkpoint inhibitors, kinase inhibitors, HER2 inhibitors. You know, every cancer is slightly different, but really I would encourage everyone to open up their network and make sure they're talking to as many companies as they can about that.